Hi, this is Mark. I wanted to spend some time and show you how to use an electronic Bible on your tablet or phone. Most of us always have our phone with us, and people don't always carry their Bible. So if you get an app on your phone or your tablet, you most likely always have your phone with you, so you would always have a Bible with you. So I'm going to show you how to get and use an electronic Bible. So this particular one that I like, which is Tecarta, is it works on Android or Apple. So I'm using an Apple device here, but you can go to the App Store or the Play Store if it's Android, and just search for Tecarta. That's Tecarta. Search, and here it is on the right here, right here. So I'm gonna get that. It's free. Now, some of the Bibles that you can get with it aren't free, and commentaries and study Bibles and stuff like that aren't free, but the King James Version Bible is free. It's in the open, I forget what the open domain or whatever you call it. So I'm going to open this. And when you open it first, it's going to ask you some questions. Do you like the dark theme or the light theme? So if you like dark, you can switch to dark by pressing dark, or you can press light to switch to light. I like the light, so I'm going to choose light and choose next. Here you pick your font size. You can drag this little thing here over to whatever size you want. I like mine pretty large, or you can hit the plus and minus and click next. Here you pick what version of the Bible do you want. They have several you can pick from here, but I'm not sure if all these are free. Probably not, but KJV is free, and that's the one I'm going to be using. That's the one I always use, so click next. And then here you can select study content, or and stuff like that. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to start with the plain KJV Bible. So I'm going to select none, which it's already on, and hit next. So then that opens it up, and it's going to ask you to sign in or create an account. This isn't something you have to do, but you can if you want. I do. I have one because I have this application on my phone and on my tablet, and it just keeps my notes and stuff in sync. For now, we're not going to do that, but you're welcome to if you prefer, or if you're one of these that don't like to do that, you don't have to. It works just fine without it. So once you get that done, you're presented here with the application. So I'm just going to take a screenshot here and show you, excuse me, some of the things here about this. Up here at the top is your book and chapter that you're in. This is your back button. This is your search button. This down here at the bottom is your home. And we're going to look at each one of these here in a minute. This is what version of the Bible you're looking at. This is a play button where you can have it read to you. This is your notes, bookmarks, such as that. That's what the pencil tab is. And this tab here is your settings. So let's look at each one of these. So first, this is going to pop up when you first get it. This pops up every time you go on the app, actually, and I don't particularly like it and want to see it. You may, but it's up to you. But if you click what they call the hamburger here, which is 3 dots, it's called a hamburger. It can be side by side or up and down. You can set up here whether you want to see this stuff. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go to notifications. And I'm going to turn off display home view because I don't want to see that every time I come into the app. If I want to see it, I'll just hit the home button. You can also have it give you daily reminders to read, or you can get a verse of the day and devotional of the day. I have all that off because I actually send verses myself, but it's up to you. You can. So hit home to go back, and then hit the X to close this. So If you ever want to see that, all you have to do is hit this home button down here, and it'll pop up, and you can scroll through it and read it if you want to. Next is up here at the top where it says John 1. I'm going to show you how to use this. When you click this, it's going to show us, it's going to ask us, because we've never clicked it before, a question. So when you first click it, it's going to ask you, how do you want to navigate through your Bible? There's 4 different ways you can do it. You can do a wheel, a 3-tap, 2-tap, or a keyboard. I myself prefer the 3-tap, but I'm going to go through each one just to show you what they are and how they work so you can make your own decision. So we'll go to wheel first. So if you go to wheel, and it tells you here, you can click this settings thing here later and change this. So if you go to wheel, this is how you select your verses, just whatever. Revelation 1:1, and then you can go. So you want to go to John 3:16. John 3:16. Go. That's how the wheel works. So let's click this and then go to settings on this again, and let's do the 2-tap. 2-tap will take you to the book and the chapter. It does not take you to the verse. You have to scroll down for the verse you want in that chapter. That's the 2-tap. The keyboard, you have to type in what you want. Psalms, SLM. Let's do 4:1. Go. That takes you to 4:1. Or you can do the one that I prefer is the 3-tap, and this just takes you can do John 3, and I will go to 16. That takes me straight to John 3:16. That's that. Now, the back arrow, which is this thing right here we showed you a while ago, this allows you to go back. So we were on Psalms, I believe, so if we hit back, we'd go back to Psalms 4. If we hit back again, we'll go back to Luke 14, where we had went. You can keep hitting back. I believe this app started in 1 John right there. Yeah, now you can't go back anymore. You went back as far as you can go. I don't know how much history it keeps for you to go back, but you can always go back. One of the downfalls to it is you can't go forward. But anyway, we'll get to that later. One other thing that we're going to go over next is settings. So right here, settings. So I keep taking these screenshots so I can show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to click settings here, and that expands this out. And we're going to click the hamburger, which is the 3 dots. And here is where you would sign in if you had an account. Here you can change your size, your font size again, if you decide you want it bigger or smaller. You can also change your font if you prefer. They have a few here you can choose from. And here you can turn on red letter, cross-reference, footnotes, inline resources. Auto scroll, if you turn that on, it's going to scroll automatically when you go into a chapter, I believe. I don't use it, and this is how you can set the speed of how fast it's going to scroll. I want to scroll myself, so I just do that myself. Down here's some other things where you can restore purchases. If you purchased this app and you've got a new phone or something, you can restore your purchases and such as that. So that's the settings. And also notice up here at the top that we have a moon and sun and this right here. And I'm going to show you those, hopefully. The moon and sun is if you like the dark mode, or you're in bed reading at nighttime with no lights on, you may prefer this mode at nighttime. You can come into settings here and switch between the two, and it'll stay there until you switch it back. This next one here to the left of that is a 2-column or single column. If you're on single column, when you close this, you're going to see just 1 column. If you're on double column, you can see, and you close this, you'll be able to see 2 side by side. And you're saying, well, why would I want to see that? Well, the reason is sometimes you might want to compare KJV to NIV or something like that, and you can see both side by side. I don't have them, but I'm going to show you that later when I get an NIV or something in here. I'll show you how that works. Currently, I don't have it because I'm in just a plain version right here that it comes with right now. So I'm going to go back to the single line because I want that right now. And you can click these side things anytime you want over here. And it pulls out like, I call it, I guess, a pop-up, like it's a slide out option. So here's a pencil, and we'll go over these things here shortly. I don't want to go over them right this minute. And there can be more than just these two. If you buy other content, there can be more here also. So one of the things I want to show you is you notice here when you're looking at this that there's some words that are underlined. And you might be wondering, what are those? Well, I'll tell you what those are. Currently here, they are cross-references. And this is a powerful thing of an electronic Bible. Rather than flipping through pages of the Bible, you can hold your finger on any one of these underlined words, and it'll give you the cross-reference menu there, and you click it, and you can see that this verse, 1 John chapter 1, verse 7, has some type of cross-reference to John 3:25 and John 5:23. And you can click one of those and go to it. There's John 25. And then if you want to go back, you can go back. You can also click on, let's click this one. I just got John. But you can also click, when I say click, what I'm doing is I'm holding my finger on the word until the little menu pops up. Even you can do that on any word in the Bible here, and it may not give you a cross-reference if it's not underlined, but it will give you a define, and you can always click define and see the definition for that word. And sometimes the definition doesn't show up here, and if it doesn't find it in your dictionary, you can always search the web by clicking search the web, and it will go out and search that word on the web if you have internet access. And then to get back, you just see this little thing up here. Just click that to go back to your Tecarta Bible. And you come back in here. So that's how that works. Now let's click on, let's just press this verse, John 3:1. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Say you like that verse and you want to do some things with it. Well, you notice when I clicked it, I just single clicked it. If I click it again, what I'm doing is just pressing it with my finger just one time. And you'll notice this plus sign over here on the left appears. And if you click that plus sign, you get a whole menu of things. So I'm going to tell you what these are. So these four allow you to highlight this verse. You can highlight it in 4 different colors. This one allows you to underline the verse, and this off will turn off those things. This one is a copy. It will copy that verse to your clipboard. This one is a bookmark. You can bookmark this verse. This one here allows you to create notes. This one here allows you to send a text message of this verse to someone. You can also email it or print it, post it to Facebook or Twitter, or you can click your hamburger here and do more things. Depending on what applications you have on your device will determine what else shows up there. So let's do some of these. Close this screenshot. So let's say we like this verse and we want to highlight it in yellow. And we also want to add a note. So let's click it again and let's add a note. Say, I really like this verse. And let's say done. Now you'll notice when I did that this little note thing here popped up. And that's just to tell you that you have a note on that verse. And you can have multiple notes, I think, on a verse. Let's click it again and say we want to add another note. No, okay, so you get the same note, but you You can modify this or add, more content, whatever you want to do. So you only get one note per verse, but you can, I think it's unlimited what size this note can be. And then you can click this note at any time and you can see it. So you can put all kinds of things in there. It's pretty powerful stuff. Also, if we click this, well, actually, let me click several of them. We highlighted that one as yellow. Let's say we actually like the whole series here. Now, sometimes when you're first starting this, it's going to pop up these little things here and tell you tapped on a cross-reference, but to view it, you need to press and hold on it. I hit one of these underlined words, just tapped it. I didn't press and hold it. So underlined words are cross-references and superscripted letters are footnotes. And what it means by superscripted letters are these things right here. And I'll show you that in a minute. So say we like these 5 verses and we want to highlight all those to be yellow. Just make them all yellow. So now we've highlighted them all as yellow. And let's say that we go, you can go up here to John 3:16. And we're going to click this verse and we're going to highlight it as blue. And then let's go back to John just for grins. Now, let's also click this verse here and let's say we want to add a bookmark. So we're going to click this one here. Now that adds a bookmark and you're allowed to change the name of it here. You don't have to keep John 1:3, the actual chapter and verse. You can say, this powerful message. And we can save that. So now I have a bookmark here. You can't see it because you can't see bookmarks while you're in here. But I have a bookmark now I've created on this verse and I've named it Powerful Things. You can see your bookmark by clicking the pencil over here on the right. And if you go to bookmarks up here and click it, you'll see that I have on John 1:3 a powerful message. And it shows me the verse right there. And I can click this at any time. Say I was in Revelations chapter 10, verse 8. I was over here reading and then I come over here to look at my bookmarks. Oh, I've got a powerful message bookmark here. Let me click that. And it'll take you right to it. And you can always go back to where you were reading at by hitting the back button. So that's pretty powerful. And this one up here, let me take a screenshot of this. This one here is your notes. Shows all your notes. This one here is your highlights, shows all your highlights. This shows all your folders. And this one shows I'm not sure. Let me get back to that one. I can't remember. This one is my margin notes. These are notes that are within. They're notes on verses. This one's note on John 3:16. This one is just a note. I can add a note in here named whatever, and we'll go over that later. It doesn't have to be related to a verse. This one here is a note that's on a verse note. And here's your highlights. You can see here I have John 3:16. Where's my yellow ones? So you look down here at the bottom and you notice you got these different colors. You can switch between the colors and see what you have underlined, what you have green, pink, yellow, and blue. So you might use those for different things. And then I'm not sure, edit allows you to delete. So you can click your minus sign there and it's going to ask you to delete this one. I'm just going to say done because I don't want to delete it. We're going to leave it in there right now. And then the folder allows you to have folders. You can click this plus sign right here and you can create a new folder. And you might, as you use this, you might realize that you want folders. I have folders that are named like Sunday Worship Service. And in this folder, I might put notes about the message, the Bible verses that were used and such as that. And I'll show you some of that once I sign in with my account that I already have some notes in mine and stuff like that. I'll show you that. And I also have notes here, and we'll go over that too. Down here is the play button. So let's look at that. So this allows you to have this read to you. Now you can have it read as from verse 1 or where you're at. But there's also settings here. So let's go into settings, and you can change how this thing sounds or how it reads to you. Let's look at Mail US and preview it. I don't know if you could hear that because I had it came through my headphones. But anyway, you can do this yourself and preview and determine which one you like the best. And when you're done, just press done. And when you want to play and have it read to you, you can just press the little plus sign or the little arrow there and tell it where you want to start. And it will continue to read and read and read until you tell it to stop. Or I'm not sure what happens when it gets to the end, if it's end of the Bible, if it starts over or it keeps reading. I have let this thing read while I go to sleep, and it's still reading when I get up in the morning. So it just keeps on going and going. It will go to the next chapter and just keep going. And it's pretty neat, actually, that it reads to you. And then you can just pause it down here whenever you get tired of hearing it, or when you're done having it read to you. My wife uses that all the time. So we'll notice here that this one has one of these little footnotes. You'll see these little letters on occasion throughout as you're looking at this stuff. So I wonder if you'll hold your finger on that, press and hold, it tells you here the earth, a footnote for it is land. So let's go, I think maybe Matthew. I'm just guessing. I don't know where it's at. Yeah, here's one H, time. So if you press that, hour is already late. So you could read this, and that's giving you a footnote about it. And I think there's several of them. Yeah, there's J, apart, by himself. So he went up into a mountain apart. So here it's telling you apart kind of means by himself. And as you get more content, if you buy more content for this Bible, you can see more things like that. And I'm going to show you some of that in a minute. I've been over everything except search. Now search I find very powerful. And the reason being, sometimes, I've had to take notes on a sermon or something like that. And, sometimes preachers don't always give you the verse they're reading. They just read something and say, he's up there preaching, and he mentions, he's reading now Revelation, and he mentions John on the Isle of Patmos. And you're thinking, nah, I don't know where that's at. Well, you can click the search thing up here, and you can type in something that he has said. Patmos, I'm going to search it. And it's in Revelation chapter 1, verse 9. You click that, and you go straight to it. Now, Patmos is only in the Bible one time. Excuse me. And that's why it only found that one word. But if you type in, you can type in whatever you want to. Water. Search it. And you'll see all this stuff. All these verses have water in them. You can type in, you don't have to type in single words too. You can type in, for God so loved. Search. Oh, I spelled for wrong. Search. So here's 3 verses that have those 4 words in it. You can see here, if I screenshot this, 4 words, for God loved, and so is found in son there. So that one picked it up. So for God loved, and for God so loved. So let's delete that screenshot. So you can find verses very easily like that. And I find myself doing it a lot of times, a preacher will say something, but they don't give you the verse, and I see people thumbing through their Bibles in church, and sometimes I just take my tablet and I'll do a quick search and I can find it, and tell my neighbors what verse he's on and stuff like that. So that I find that pretty powerful. What else have I not shown you here? I think that's pretty much all. Oh, you can scroll up and down just by dragging your finger up and down, and you can also move from chapter to chapter by dragging from the left to the right or right to the left, depending on which. I said those backwards, but anyway. And then if you click this down here, King James Version, it allows you to switch between what Bibles you have. You can click my content and see what you own. The only thing we currently own is King James Version. And one thing you might notice that I noticed, I was using this a few weeks ago, and I noticed all of a sudden that there is an update to the KJV. I was thinking, an update to the KJV? That's been out forever. There should be no update. What did they change? Because I wasn't going to download it because I thought something's changed and I don't want to lose my version that I have. So I emailed them. I said, just out of curiosity, what has changed on the KJV? It's been out and in the public domain for years. And I said, why would it update? What changed? And they said it was a red letter, an issue with the red letter that changed. And you have to understand that the Bible that's written for electronic version has stuff in it that tells it when it's red letter and when it's not, and when you have footnotes and stuff like that. And someone just messed up one of the red letter words, is it didn't say red letter, or it said red letter and it shouldn't have been. So I decided that's okay, and I went ahead and downloaded it. But they said it was a good question, and they were glad I asked. And so I'm going to, if you'll notice here also, this has a little cloud with a down arrow. What does that mean? Well, what that means is you don't actually have the Bible on your device yet. It's in the cloud. You're reading from the cloud. And I would suggest that you always click that and download it to your device. That way, if you're out somewhere and you don't have internet, you still have the Bible with you. If you're using one of these other online Bibles or something, you have to have internet to be able to use it. Well, if your internet goes down, or you're somewhere where you don't have internet, you still have the Bible with you and you can read it. So this down here is how you change between versions if you want to do different versions. And we're going to show you that here in a minute. What I'm going to do now is log into my account, because I think I've showed you everything. Give me a second here and let me log into my account. I don't know my account. Where is my, here it is. So I'm going to look for Tecarta. Right here. So I want to copy this password, because all my passwords are cryptic. And I want to go over and if we click the settings thing right there and the hamburger, we can sign in. And I'm signing in with my Tecarta account. I didn't sign in with a Facebook account, but you can. Put in your email. And then key in your password and sign in. I don't want to save that right now. So now I've successfully signed into my account. And what that does is that gives me all the content now that I have downloaded and or purchased. And I have a lot of content actually, because I've bought a lot of content out of this app because I use it quite a bit. So now if we go back and we look at, you see here where a lot of the stuff is popped up over here on the left. I have bought all this stuff over here. I have 6 study Bibles, 3 commentaries, 2 versions of the Bible, and then 1 KJV with Strong's Concordance. You don't have to buy all this. I probably paid total $80 for all of this, because you can catch it on sale and or different things. If you join them and create an account, then you'll start getting emails and stuff. And every once in a while, they have a Bible for $1.99 or something that's usually no $7.99 or something. And when stuff goes cheap like that, if it's something I'm interested in, I'll go ahead and buy it. And the only reason I have NIV is because I did this video the first time to get ready for this recording, and I wanted to show you the side by side. So I'm going to actually click this double page up here, and then I'm going to click this NIV. I have to download it, I guess. And then I'm going to click it again. It's going to ask me, do I want to see that in the left side or the right side? So I'm going to say I want to see that in the right side. So now we have turned on this 2 column up here. So now if we go back and we look, we can see, when we minimize that down, we can see on this side we have the NIV, and on this side we have the KJV, and it tells you that down here, KJV and NIV. So if you're one of these that wants to see what the difference is between the versions, and I find that interesting sometimes, seeing what people are being taught according to what version of the Bible they have, then you can see here. And as you scroll these, they will maintain and stay in sync to each other. So you can look here at verse 16, and see what it says here, 3:16, and what it says in the NIV. And you can see the differences. So you might find that handy. I do on occasion, and I just want to show you that feature that's in here. And this little icon down here will allow you to, I believe, stretch. Oh, that turns off sync. That's what that does. So now if I scroll on the left, the right stays where it's at. This is the sync button. So if you have it on, they're going to sync together. It doesn't matter which side you scroll on, the other side's going to catch up to it. I don't want that on, so I'm going to turn that back off, which brings me back to my KJV, because that's the one that I have. Now, I do not work for Tecarta, but if it was me, the one that I find I use most is this KJV Study Bible right here. And this is $7.99. And it comes with Strong's Concordance, which you'll notice up here. I bought it separately because I probably bought it before I bought this or something. But anyway, it's this one right here. I'm going to download it so you can see it. KJV Study Bible by Thomas Nelson. And there's several of them. You don't have to choose this one. You go through and look at them all. But what's happened here since I've clicked this is it's actually downloaded this content to my device. So now I don't have to have internet. But what you get with this, once you download it and you click it, now you'll notice that I have, it comes up here and tells me about this. And you'll notice also that I have 3 tabs now instead of just the 2. And my color has changed. According to what Bible and stuff you have, I'm on KJV Study Bible, your color could possibly change. I know some of them are yellow and different things like that. But anyway, so you'll notice up here at the top of this, there's 4 icons. This one is the page we're on. It just tells about this one. This one will tell about the chapter we're on. This one gives us charts, maps, and stuff like that. And this one actually gives us the information according to where we're at in the Bible, what chapter and verse and stuff like that. So let's look at each one of those. Let's delete this. So I'm going to click this again to make that go back so you can see. Now you'll notice one thing here that has happened here in John 3:16 after verse 3. Where's verse 4? We got in here this thing right here. What is this? This ain't part of the Bible. You're exactly right. It's not part of the Bible. And you might not like this being in here. I actually do. But that's a personal choice. And I'm going to show you how you can turn that on or off. What I like is this is the personality profile. So it tells us about Nicodemus here. Who he was, because he was mentioned right here in verse 4. So this is telling us about him. And down here also you see Jesus' visit to Jerusalem. So there's a map we can see. We got this stuff when we bought this KJV study Bible here. So if you click the eye up here, this tells about the book we're in, John, and probably most of your physical Bibles have something like this. You know, it tells something about the book when you first go to it. This little box here shows us the extra stuff we get with it. And this right here that we see down here, this personality profile on Nicodemus, that is a personality profile. So you can see all these we get in here. So when they're mentioned in the Bible, they're going to pop up here if you have that turned on. And I will show you how to turn that on and off here in a minute. And also, you noticed we had down here a map. So we can click maps here, and you can probably find that map down here, Jesus' visit. I don't know where it's at. What are we in, John? I don't see John over here. So maybe it's not this. Maybe it's, I don't know. But notice all these maps and stuff I got. And you can click any one of these and see the actual map. And you know, it's pretty neat, actually, some of the stuff you can do with some of this stuff. I find it very amazing that you can just see this stuff. And you can turn your tablet sideways and see it bigger and stuff like that. You can zoom in, I think. Yeah, you can zoom in here, zoom out, just like you can on anything. And you can actually send this to someone, print it, whatever you want to do. And there's also charts. You know, there's the Ark of the Covenant. Here's the sons of Jacob, if you want to see that. You know, it mentions who their mother was, who their son was, and their order and stuff like that. We studied this when we went through Genesis. You get stuff like this. You also have all this other stuff. Here's prayers of the Bible. These are tells you about some of the prayers, and there's all kinds. You can go through it yourself. I don't want to spend too much time on it. And then this right here is going to give you the study note information, or if you have a commentary up, it would give you the commentary on this particular stuff here. And it scrolls as you scroll too. This one, yeah, here we're on. So sometimes it's a little slow, but yes, it keeps up with where you're at. So, and now I want to show you this personality profile here. I want to show you, if you come back over here to settings and you click your hamburger, you can see that we have here inline resources on. You may like those off where you don't see it. I like to see them because I might want to read about Nicodemus. So that's a personal preference. You can turn that on or off. And let's go down here and see which one turns. Is that turn on the map too? Yes, that turns on that little map too. So that turns off all that stuff. And so, you know, it's a personal preference. You can do whatever you want to. Anyway, inside these, you also have stuff where you can, you know, you can cross-reference this. And this is telling you it's cross-referencing John 3:10, which is in the same chapter. And here's one for John 7:50. And you can see what it says and stuff like that. Here's, and I think you can probably click that map, and actually you can click that map and see it. So you may like that on and you may not. I prefer it to be on myself, but that's a personal choice. So that's got that. Let's go now. I want to show you one other thing here. This right here is the sync to keep these two columns synced together. You can turn that on or off, and this is to make it go full screen or not. So let's do that real quick. So if I want to see this bigger, I just click that and I can see this stuff bigger here. If I go back, click it again. So that's what that does. And if I don't want them to be synced together, I can click that and say turn study notes sync off. I'm going to keep it on. One last thing I think I want to show you is the notes. I told you I had a lot of content, a lot of notes here. Let's go to folders. I have here in my folders, I've got memory verses, verses I want to memorize. I have a folder created there. Here's some research, Sunday school, Sunday worships, Sunday worship service, church notes, VBS, New Testament. In here I have like Matthew. I've got an overview of Matthew, and that gives a an overview of each chapter of Matthew that I've worked on. And I have this for several, and I actually want to do it for every book of the Bible. I haven't got it so far, but do I have? Yes, I've got Revelations because I study Revelations a lot. But that's that. Lessons. Yeah, I don't have much lessons. Sunday worships. That's one I created while we were doing this here. That's one I created yesterday. Where? Here's some here I created back in 2019 or 2020. I don't know when it was. A Brother Scott message, Gerald message. One other thing I want to show you is if you want to do something like this, where was that? That was under Sunday worships. Right here. No, where was that? Church notes. Let's say you're in church and you want to create a new note for your worship service, and you just call it worship service, whatever you want to call it. And you want to keep up with the stuff that he goes over while he's preaching. So let's say that he goes to Philippians 4:13, and that's a verse he mentions where it says, I can do all things. We can see here by this little thing that we have a note on this, and this is something I just stuck on there to show how to use this in another video. But anyway, you can, while you're listening to the service, you have some buttons up here, and this one right here is kind of neat. This puts the verse you're on into your notes here. So let's show you how that works. So say you're in the service and you're here and you just want this verse 4:13, you want to, that's one he went over. And actually he went over several of them. So we can just click several of them here and hit this, and it puts them all in there. Now you can keep them all bunched together like that, or you can do whatever you want to. Once they get in here, you can, I can't do it with my finger here, but anyway, you can change that stuff, and you can actually write stuff in here. Research this more. And say he goes over to John 3:16, and I'm just picking these, and he says something about that one. I didn't do something right. I got to select it and then hit the over arrow. So it puts that in there. And this, let me show you one thing. I told you I was on KJV, but this says KJVS. So you may be, what is that? Well, that's Strong's Concordance, which is what I'm going to show you here in a minute. That's King James Version with Strong's Concordance. And what that does, Strong's, if you'll notice here, there's a lot more words underlined here than there was in our initial Bible. Let me move this over so we can see it. And why that is now you're getting not only cross-references, but you're getting Strong's Concordance too. And if you hold your finger on one of these, you'll see that the menu now has Strong's. And if you click that, you can actually see the original word, the transliterated word, the phonetic spelling, and also the Strong's number if you're familiar with Strong's Concordance, and a lot more stuff. Here you get the Strong's definition, Thayer's definition, the usage by words, by word. We are on, what word were we on? Whosoever. So whosoever is similar to all things, all these other words, but you see that whosoever is used 34 times right here in the New Testament. There's one thing to understand about the Strong's is what you see here when it shows you this 34. It's got to do with the testament you're in. It's either Old Testament or New Testament. If you want to see how many times it appears in the Old Testament, you need to be in the Old Testament when you're searching for it, because if you look down here, usage by book, the only books it shows you where that word is used are the New Testament books. But you can click this and you can see the 34 times where that's seen, and it will show you all of the verses where that's seen at. This is pretty powerful stuff here. So I would suggest, if you purchase any additional study Bible or anything like that, that you get Strong's, that you make sure it comes with Strong's Concordance. This one here that I'm showing you here of the Thomas Nelson, I think it is, Study Bible, it comes with Strong's Concordance. And you can also click down here in a book and see, I clicked Ephesians and see where all that appeared or related to somewhat in Ephesians. And one thing you need to keep in mind here is it's not necessarily whosoever, but it could be whomsoever, these other words in here too, that it's going to show these on. So that's Strong's Concordance. Just click off of it when you want to go. One of the downfalls I've noticed is what you don't know now with all these underlined words is which one has a cross-reference and which one is just a Strong. So you just basically have to click them, press and hold them. So that's a Strong's. That's got both. So you can see a cross-reference here of John 6:47, and you can click it again, click and hold it again, and you can see Strong's Concordance. In has Strong's him, Strong's should has Strong's. And I don't know if you noticed what I just did, but if you click and hold this, if you click this plus right here, you can highlight this, just that single word. You know, over here, if you click the whole thing, you highlight the whole verse, but if you want to do just a single word, you have that option too. You can just click your plus on either side of that, and you can add just stuff for that particular thing. What else have I not showed you? Is that it? I think that might be it. Let me look here. Went through that, went through that, went through that. This, settings. One other thing is these 3 tabs over here. You can always only have 3 tabs. I wish they would allow you to have more, because sometimes I want to look at, maybe Matthew Henry's commentary and my study Bible. If you click that, it switches here to only show you Matthew Henry's. So I can't see my Thomas. I think it's Thomas. It might, I don't know what it is. Study Bible. So to get back to that, you have to come back down here and click Thomas Nelson Study Bible, and you bring it back up. I wish you could have multiple tabs down here on this right-hand side. I would love this app if it would do that, and I don't know why they don't have it do that. And I might email them about it sometime and see if they might be able to add that. I think that would be a great addition. If you have any questions, you can contact me. I'll try to help you. I'm not a professional by any means. I've just used it and learned how to use it myself. And I hope this video helps someone else learn how to use it. Thank you. Have a good day. God bless.